this is a special topic: alliances, networks, and mentoring. How can they really benefit us? Well, I'm all about this idea that your life is an amazing testimony to an amazing life force that moves through you. And every single thing you do is a unique aspect of you. Every way that you make conversation, every friend you make, every lesson you learn, and especially every single insight that you have when you learn and have this aha moment, you have like very special, unique intelligence in those moments. And I think alliances, networks, and mentoring help to develop that actually quite a lot more than many other things. For example, I've had some amazing connections with people all around the world, really following my hobby and my passion, which was drumming, for a very long time, and using that form of creative expression as a type of therapy. I met some incredible people from all over the world. I've been to centers and well-being forums and festivals and met people that have this very unique and amazing passion for rhythm, percussion, drumming, and even sacred sound, that were also wondering how they could create more networks, more alliances with people that had this very special interest as well. So over that 20-year, 2-decade period as a clinical psychologist, I met so many inspiring people, and one or two of them became my mentors, people who had actually studied the deeper science of rhythmic entrainment and how it affects the brain, and built some amazing partnerships with them, which I still use today to actually help people with depression, anxiety, or actually kind of special needs cases in families that are really struggling. And what became so fascinating about that was I realized only years later, 15 years later, that that was a very innovative, pioneering mentorship. That person who I'd met, Jeffrey Strong in Santa Fe, New Mexico, as an example, was actually a mentor of some type over the years. And we created this alliance with rhythmic entrainment intervention, which now has become, as I said, over 15 years, a really trendy, popular part of YouTube videos, of kind of meditative music. Even now it's being used, binaural beats, which is an aspect of what we did, but not really the golden nugget of it. There's way more to it than that. Is now used even to help people get into the right state to study, just at the click of a button. You know, you can kind of download very powerful ways to change the brainwaves in the brain. So without that kind of networking and that trust to really build something with someone that I knew was very, very far away, very, very different to me, I would never have been able to really inspire myself so much and realize my own aha moments, my own special insights, my own special magic as a drummer, as a psychologist, as someone who was so passionate about sound and what it can do to the body, would never have really become such a strong, powerful contribution, because I had the strength of, for example, Jeffrey and his whole institute and many other drummers around the world and therapists who are using rhythm in a very specific way to support my vision to do it in my specific way. There's also this amazing part of networking and being mentored in various kind of open groups or big forums, and those examples are conferences or maybe, you know, groups where you feel you're with like-minded people who really inspire you and really mirror back to you something very powerful about you and what's happening inside of your own career development, what's happening in your learning journey. What can you then see in these people that you really admire that remind you of you? I mean, this is such a priceless way to know how we touch each other's lives, but we also show each other the magic that we see in each other through each other. And this is such an amazing part of, you know, being in the world and reality testing, you know, looking at reality and understanding your own identity through that. For those of you that know anything about the Enneagram, you'll know that I'm maybe a 4, or maybe you don't know, so I'm telling you And this really means that I've had a long journey in my life of exploring the world through my identity. Who am I? What does it mean that I am me? How do I contribute? And I guess one of the beautiful gifts of that has been to be able to notice that aspect of building alliances and networking with people around the world, and then also bringing, your own kind of way of doing things into alignment with who you really are, when you do have certain mirroring and certain mentors who can show who you are back to you through how they experience you. And so that's been a very special gift that I can, talk about and explain to people through the fact that I've really studied seeing the world through my own essence and my own identity, my own kind of particular, at times even neurotic, analytical way of looking at what does it mean to be me, and what does it mean to be with someone else? What are my values? What are their values? How do we connect? And how do we trust that I will take myself where I need to go? And even if I'm in front of a situation where things could go wrong, or maybe that person doesn't give back to me as much as I feel I give, or maybe there isn't enough interaction that feels like it's going somewhere, those are all amazing learning opportunities that we have to trust and work through, and have the courage to keep some of who we really are intact and aligned, and then also become flexible to see, does this new way of doing things really work for me? Could it work for me? Is there a way for me to be more flexible about how I perceive others and how I work with others and how I create alliances? I remember years back doing a very important Sustainable Development Goal Summit. I was meeting some amazing women all around the world, especially through a conference forum called Women's Economic Forum, but years before that also had a really strong international speaking career, and was in fact invited very young from my student days to present in the United Kingdom some of my ideas when I was studying back in South Africa. And I remember each one of these moments have become really amazing ways to build an international community of networks, partners, alliances all over the world. And I've really been drawn to them and really developed them over the years. So when we did the Sustainable Development Goal Forum and Summit, I invited some of these women from the Netherlands, from abroad, from the Women's Economic Forum, many different other partnerships that I'd developed over the years that I felt were successful. And we had this forum, and one of the main points was how important it is to build these kinds of alliances. The Sustainable Goal 17, for example, is all about this unification, consensus. What does it feel like when you're in a group of people that really get you and really want the same thing as you? Well, as a planet, we're trying to create that now. And so this trust that we have to have in ourselves and in each other to have somewhat of the best outcome come out of this is a very powerful one. And it's something we do need to test out. So we become more mature in how we make decisions, the more we experience different challenges in life, and the more we are faced with some things we need to decide about. And so we learn how to be more specifically selective for our own needs. But we cannot really get there until we take that on ourselves and really have the courage to test it out, right? You got to try a few connections, a few networks, a few alliances to see, how does this fit with me? Is it really giving me the opportunity I need? Is there something else I could be learning if it's not this thing that I thought I would get out of it? And then I want to just share with you, finally, one of the most powerful alliances that we have in life is with ourselves. So how do we become our own allies in life? How do we actually create alliance with the parts of us that might be, really struggling or in conflict or in a struggle with something inside of us that we can't always resolve?